Today we will start with the CSS. Let me write some few points about CSS first of all. CSS is cascading style sheets. CSS is cascading style sheets. Very important. One more point. CSS is used to decorate web pages.
మూడు రకాలు నేను చెప్పింది అంతే. క్యారెట్ బెండకాయ ఇంకా అల్లం ఏదో చెప్పింది అంతే. ఫటాఫట్ వెళ్ళి తీసుకుని వెళ్ళిపోతాం ఇక్కడ టీ పట్నాలు కదా ఆపరు.
It's just a syntax. You come down on top of the HTML. So simple note point I'm trying to write it. On top of the HTML, CSS is overlap.
కవర్ ఉందిగా, సైలెన్సర్ తాగట్లేదుగా.
HTML CSS is overlap.
సైలెన్సర్ తాగుతుందా?
We need to write HTML and we need to inject CSS on top of the HTML. That is a very important. Latest version CSS is CSS 3.0. Okay, so the next very important topic here. How to add CSS? How to add CSS for HTML? How to add CSS for HTML? There are multiple ways. One is inline CSS. Second one is internal CSS. The third one is external CSS. First one is inline CSS. Second one is internal CSS. Third one is external CSS. There are three CSS. Attach the HTML. One second. Okay, so everybody can able to see my screen now?
Yes, sir.
Yes. Okay, I'm audible, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, that's fine. Here, we will be having three kind of CSS files. One is the inline CSS, one is the internal CSS, and another one is the external CSS. How to work with the inline CSS? What is the way of writing inline CSS? Inline CSS is element specific CSS. Inline CSS is element specific CSS. Okay, it means element by element. Element by element, we need to add CSS. Element by element, we need to add CSS. Means in your HTML file, for example, we have thousand elements or 10,000 elements, whatever it may be, 1,000 elements. We need to add, or you need to add CSS for 1,000 times. So this will take time and it is worst basically. We need to add CSS for 1,000 times. This is waste basically. Developer can't able to spend the time for 1,000 lines of CSS, 1,000 line HTML and all. For example, how that will be for paragraph. For example, I'm having multiple elements. I'm having paragraph, I'm having H1, I'm having a form, I'm having a table. If I'm having multiple elements like this, what we need to do is number of times I need to write a CSS. I need to inject the CSS for every element with the CSS style attribute. Adding CSS for element using with the style attributes. So 3 times I'm writing. In this way, we need to give 1,000 times. Okay. So style is equal to, I need to give the attributes over there. What are the different attributes you are trying to providing? We need to give the number of times attributes for each and every element for the inline CSS. So this is basically worst. I'll give one simple example how to write inline CSS. Let me go with the simple example. Okay, let me save the nodes also in your folder. File save as. Desktop. Let me go for the desktop, not desktop 3. Okay, so we have the folder HTML 6 PM. I create a new folder for today class 22/3. Okay, so inside this, I'm saving the file as nodes. Basically, this is nodes. Let me try to take a simple program how to work with the inline CSS. Open Visual Studio Code. Open Visual Studio Code. Go to file, take a new file. Save it as in the same folder. I want to go 22/3. Yeah, 22/3. And inside this, I need to create a file name inline css.html. Inline css.html. Every file should be HTML file only, but we are trying to injecting CSS to the HTML. That is the very reason. That is the very reason every file should be HTML file only. Okay. So let me try to add multiple elements here. Let me try to add multiple elements here. Take multiple elements from this. Let me have 3 elements like this. Add these 3 elements here in the HTML file. Okay, we will be having 2 elements here. Let me try to give the attributes for the paragraph. I don't have any content for the paragraph. Let me try to give the content. So let me write a plain text here. For that particular plain text, I need to attach multiple style attributes. I need to attach a lot of style attributes. Okay, you can give the lorem. Okay, style. What is the style I want to provide is color. Color, I'm providing red. For the paragraph, I'm giving a red color. For H1, I'm giving a different color called green color. Color green. Color green. For the paragraph, I'm giving the color red. For H1, I'm giving the color green. Just to save it. Right click on this. Right click on this. Okay. Okay. Open in a default browser. This is a different plugin basically. This is the different plugin. If you want to work with this kind of plugin, you need to install a new plugin here. If you are saved all files in the folder, then you can work with the open in live server. But if you are not saving the all files in one single folder, if you are saving in a separate folders, like yesterday folder is 21/3, today folder is 22/3. I am saving different files in a different folders, right? In this case, what I'm trying to giving is one more additional plugin, open in default browser. There is a plugin called open in default browser. You have to install it. Open in default browser. Open in default browser is the plugin. So the blue color one, which will highlight on the first. The blue color one, which is highlighting on the first. Please install this plugin. So this plugin is already there. I'm not installing now. Okay, that plugin is important when you want to go with the one more option called open in the default browser. Yesterday class I am working with open in live server, but this live server will work when you have all the files in the single folder. Folder should be accessed first, but I am not actually accessing the folder today. I'm trying to create in the file every day folder. Why? Because of this is basically nodes and folders will be in the day-wise folder. That is better for you. But all the HTML files in the one folder already there. Okay, so open in the live server. It will work. Now it will work with the open in default browser. Now you can see. Now you can see the output. Your paragraph in the red color. Your paragraph in the red color, and your heading in the green color. Why? Because of I am trying to providing the CSS for two elements separately. I am trying to providing two elements style separately. Okay, let me go for the one more CSS, that is internal CSS. Internal CSS. Internal CSS is page specific CSS. Page specific CSS. Okay, it means for every page we need to attach. For every page we need to attach CSS separately. For every page we need to attach a CSS separately. That is basically internal CSS. For example, page 1 CSS separate. Page 2 CSS separate. Page 3 CSS separate. For every page we need to attach CSS separately. That is basically internal CSS. Okay, so inline CSS working with the node pointer. Inline CSS working with the style attribute. Inline CSS working with or injecting with, whatever it may be, working with or injecting with. Working with or injecting with style attribute. So in the bracket I'm trying style attribute. Style attribute. Attribute should be available in the open tag. Remember it. Always attribute is available in the open tag. Don't give in the close tag. That is attribute. Style is the attribute. For attribute, we are trying to provide in the multiple values with the semicolon separate. Okay. So here I have already color. For example, I want to give the font style for this. Font style italic. So italic fonts is another property, CSS property. Every property is separated with the semicolon. Property and value separated with the colon, but property to property separated with the semicolon. Property and value separated with the colon. Okay. Every property is a key value pair. Every property is a key value pair. Key and value separated with colon. And one more point. Key and value separated with semicolon. Key and value separated with semicolon. Sorry. Key, attribute and attribute. Every property separated with the semicolon. Property separated with semicolon, but key and value separated with the colon symbol. Colon is a double dot. Is this clear? Is this clear? Any question on this? Please raise your hand in the chat box. Everything is clear? Property and value separated with the colon. Property separated with the comma. Okay, that's fine. But internal CSS will be declared with style tag. Internal CSS will declare using with the style tag. So how this will be in your HTML file? For example, you have the HTML file like this. This is the file 1.html. For example, this is the file 1.html. I'll be having the one more HTML file do.html also. For these two HTMLs, I want to write the style sheet. How to write the style sheet for these two HTML? You need to give the style tag open, style tag close. You need to give the style tag open, style tag close. That is important. Inside the style tag, we have to provide the selectors. Later I will tell about the selectors, how selector will be. And here also in the file 2, separate style sheet, separate style tag open, separate style tag close. Same in the file 3 also, separate style tag open, separate style tag close. Here also some selectors, here also some selector. These selectors related to file1.html. These selectors are related. These selectors are related with file2.html. And here, these selectors are related with file3.html. Yes. File1.html selectors in the style sheet. File2.html in the style sheet separate. File3.html selectors related to the style sheet here. Now, let me try to create multiple pages. Let me try to create a multiple pages. Take new. This is page 1. For example, page 1.html. Page 1.html, we will be having multiple paragraphs. In page 1.html, we will be having multiple paragraphs. Okay. I'm having 3 paragraphs in the page 1.html. Page 1.html, we will be having 3 paragraphs. For all the 3 paragraphs, I want to implement the style sheet like this. For all the paragraphs, I want to implement the style sheet like this. Okay. Access your P. P is your element. Access your P. P is your element. All the P's I want to give the red color. All the P's I want to give the font family. Font family. A different font family. I want to go with the Sego UI or Camaria. For all the paragraphs, this is reusability. The same kind of elements selecting with one simple style. The same kind of elements, 3 same kind of elements. Selecting with the simple style, color and font family is different. Let me go. Right click on this, open in the default browser. You can see all your 3 paragraphs are looking in the same way. All your 3 paragraphs are looking in the same way. Why? Because of this page1.html is separate. Now what my requirement is, I try to provide a different headings. Okay, let me take H2s also. H2. This is H2 basically, heading 2. For heading 2, I want to give the full stack web development. Okay, let me go. Let me take a multiple H2s here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 H2s I'm taking. For all the H2s, I want to apply the separate style. For all the H2s, I want to give the color blue. For all the H2s, I want to give the color blue. Let me give the font family also separate. Font family also separate. I'm giving for this impact or cursive. For all the H2s, one style will come. Let's execute that. Refresh the browser. Can you see that? All paragraphs in one style. All your headings are in one style. But this is something like a style reusability. This is something like a style reusability. Can you see and observe? This is basically called selector. This is the first one is the P selector. First one is the P selector. This is the comment for the CSS. And the second one is the H2 selector. Tag selector. This is basically tag selector. You can specify the name as tag selector. This is P tag selector. This is H2 tag selector. Is it clear, everyone? Is it clear, everyone? This is complete page level CSS. I am not writing the style for the element by element. I am not writing style element by element here. Directly, I am writing the style for multiple elements, multiple same kind of elements with one selector. For example, you imagine this is a classroom. All paragraphs are girls. All headings are boys. All girls with one simple style. all girls with one simple style. In the previous example, this P is a girl, H1 is a boy. Both are having separate style. Even having multiple boys and girls. If I'm having multiple boys and girls, all paragraphs of girls, all H1s are boys. Okay, so let me execute this one also. Can you see and observe? All boys with a one color, all girls are with one color. But what is happening? I'm trying to write in the style every time is same. Every time is unique. Every time is separate. For every element, I'm writing the style sheet here. For every element, I'm trying to provide in the style sheet here. But this time, in the page one, I'm not writing any style attribute here. I am not writing any style attribute here. Directly, I'm writing the selectors. By selectors, it is working fine. Give me 1 second. I will keep the charge. Why? Because of my battery is getting down. Give me 1 second. I'll come back. Okay, that's fine. So, inline CSS, what is happening? Element by element, we are trying to provide in the CSS. But internal CSS, what is happening? For the complete page, we are writing the one CSS. Okay, let me take page 2. Save it as page 2.html. This is a separate page now. In this page, we have the girls and boys again. For girls, I'm just giving the different color for the girls. I'm giving separate color for the girls. For boys, I'm giving the another color, different. For boys, I'm giving the separate color now. Now you can execute the program. You can execute the program. This page is different. Page 1 is different. Page 2 is different. Page 1 CSS is separate. Page 2 CSS is separate. Separate colors. But I'm taking the same tags. That is not a problem. In this way, if you have your application is going to be having 100 pages, 100 times we need to implement CSS. In the last program, in your page, you have 1000 elements, 1000 times we need to give the CSS. I hope everybody got understand how the difference between the inline and internal. Everybody got understand how the difference between the inline and internal.
Yes, sir.
That's fine. Now, let me go for the one more CSS that is called external CSS. External CSS is basically tremendous. In real time, everybody will use external CSS only. External CSS is application specific CSS. Application specific CSS. Application specific CSS. Complete application, one CSS file will work. Complete application, one CSS file will work. And in this case, CSS file will be saved as file name.css. Whatever the name of the file you want, you can use. But here the thing is very important. Extension of the file is .css, not a .html. extension of the file is .css. Remember the point. This is application specific CSS. Complete application, one CSS file will work. At the same time, in this case, file will be saved as file name.css. For example, I'll be having file1.css. Sorry, file1.html. And I will be having file2.html. And I will be having file3.html. Okay, I'm having 3 files now. For the file 1, I need to give the one CSS or one style. I'm giving the file.css. For example, I'm injecting file.css for the, I'm injecting file1.css for the file1.html. At the same time, I need to inject file.css for the file2.html. I need to inject file.css for the file3.html. File1.html, file.css. File2.html, file.css. File3.html, file.css. For every HTML file, the same CSS file which is going to be injected. Got my point? So this is very, very important. Let me try to give this complete picture in the diagrammatic manner. I will try to provide a diagrammatic manner for this inline, internal, and external. This is inline, for example, and this is internal, for example, and this is external, for example. Okay, so let me give the external files like this. Okay, and now this is an additional file. This is a kind of CSS file. Now this is basically inline CSS. Inline CSS. Let me elaborate it. Let me elaborate it. Font size will be increased. This is inline CSS. Sorry. This is inline CSS. This is internal CSS. And here this is a external CSS. The complete picture is external CSS. Okay, so how this inline CSS will be? You have a multiple elements like this. You have a multiple elements like this. For all these elements, you need to give the style separately. For all these elements, we need to give the style separately. Let me give the style here and here. Style here. And here also style. You have to provide the style. And here also style. You need to provide the separate style here. And here also style. We need to inject the style here. That is basically inline CSS. Coming to the internal CSS, what is happening? Internal CSS is, for example, you'll be having separate pages like this. We have 2 pages, for example. For 2 pages, style is different. Here, we need to give the style tag. We need to give the style tag separately for this page. We need to give the style tag separately for this page. At the same time, we need to give the style tag here also separately. So style tag here again. This is basically internal CSS. Okay, this is page 1, this is page 2. Okay, let me write this is page 1 for application. And this is page 2. And here in the first one, I don't have multiple pages. I have single page. This is a page, just page, not page 1, page 2, something like this is page. But here we have 2 pages, 2 style sheets. Little bit more easier than inline CSS. Coming to the external CSS, we will be having separate files like this. Let me go take a file1.html. This one is a file 1. This one is a file 2 or page 1 or page 2. And this one is a file 3. Okay, so finally, this is the CSS file, file.css. This is the CSS file. Finally, what is going to be happening? This file.css is going to be injected into the file 1. And the same CSS will be injecting to the file 3. The same CSS which will inject into the file 2. The same file which is going to be injected to the multiple files. The same CSS file which is going to be injecting for the multiple files. Just remember, this is very, very simple. In the real time, people will use more external CSS only. Okay, so how to execute the external CSS? You have the file1.html, right? So you have the file1.html. Inside the file1.html, we need to write a tag called a link tag. Link relevant is equal to style sheet. Link relevant is equal to style sheet. Href is the attribute for that. Href is equal to file.css. I need to specify the file name. This is the file1.css. File1.html. Now let's go to the file2.html at the same time, file3.html also. We will be having three files now. This is the file2.html. This is the file3.html. File2.html, same file. File3.html, again same file. For all the HTML files, the same CSS file we are trying to provide. For all the HTML files, the same CSS file I am trying to provide. That is basically external CSS. Now, let me go and create a new program. And now this time, I am going to be preparing file1.html first of all. Save it as file1.html. File1.html this time. For file1.html, let me take multiple paragraphs. Okay, lower them. In the first HTML, I have only 3 paragraphs. In the first HTML, I have only 3 paragraphs. In the second HTML, I want to take 10 paragraphs or 9 paragraphs. 1, 2, 3, 9 paragraphs now. This one is file2.html file. Now, in the third HTML file, file3.html, I'll be having more and more paragraphs. File3.html. In file3.html, I'll be having more and more paragraphs. But what my requirement is, for file1, we have some paragraphs. For file2, we have some paragraphs. But file3, we will be having some other paragraphs. But all these 3 files, combined style sheet, I need to write now. The combined style sheet is something like a file.css. This time extension is .css. Just look into that. This time extension is .css. I'm trying to give in the CSS here. Okay, just try to provide the color blue and font family something like cursive. Now this CSS file, I need to inject that particular CSS file. I need to inject here, and here. Whatever the CSS file we have here, that CSS file I need to inject for. Okay, let me give, yeah. So this CSS file I need to inject for the file3. Same CSS file I need to inject for the file2. The same CSS file I need to inject for the file1 also. Here we have some paragraphs, and here also we have some paragraphs, and here also we have some paragraphs, but all the paragraphs should take the same color blue, font family cursive. File1 and file2 and file3 should be taking the same style sheet, same color blue and font family cursive. Now let me go. Let me go and injection. Now trying to giving the type of the external style injection. External style injection. So how to give this injection is very simple. How to give this injection is very simple. How to provide this injection is very simple. Link relevant style sheet. Then href file.css. That's it, over. And this is self-close attack. This time it is self-close attack. Can you see and observe? And the same injection we should be providing for the all HTML files. File2.html also same injection. File3.html also same injection. Just give the injection after the HTML tags, or before the HTML tags, or in middle of HTML tags, whatever you want. But inside the page, it should be give. Inside the page, it should be give. Now, finally execute each and every HTML. First of all, I am executing file1.html. You can see the output. File1.html. We will be having 3 paragraphs with cursive, color blue. File1.html execution. File1.html execution, how it is going to be? 3 paragraphs with blue color and cursive. At the same time, I'm trying to executing the file2.html. Open in the default browser. Now you can see all the 6 paragraphs are right, 9 paragraphs are cursive in the blue color. Same style sheet is applying. Now time to execution of the file 3. Execute file 3. Right click and open in default browser. You will be finding out lot of paragraphs checking with the same blue color and cursive, right? Cursive font family. Now you may got to understand how this inline CSS, internal CSS, and external CSS is going to be working. Is there any questions still now? Is there any questions still now?
హలో Sir, your mic has been muted, sir. Can't hear.
Is it okay now?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay. So if I'm having internal style before, and later on I am writing the external style. Last line is the first execution. Obviously, external style is output to the browser. What is the external style color? What is the external style color? Paragraph blue. So internal is red. Blue is last. Output is obviously blue. Why? Because of the last line is the first execution to the browser. Last line is the first execution to the browser. Okay. So my question. What is my question? If I'm having internal style and external style, which style will give first preference to the browser? You give me the answer. You give me the answer. This is the question, sir. If I'm having internal style, external style with the style, which style will give the first preference to the browser? Anybody can tell answer. Anybody can tell answer. What is the answer for this? Based on the line execution. Based on the line execution. One more point. Last line is first execution. Last line is first execution for the browser. Last line is first execution to the browser. Ante. That's it. Based on the line execution, last line is the first execution for the browser. You clearly observe that. Here my last line is external, that is the output is blue. If I keep this one in the bottom, internal, if I keep internal bottom, obviously output will be red. Obviously output will be red color. Last line is the first execution. Answer is very simple. If I'm having internal style and external style, which style will give the first preference means based on your line execution, it will come out. Last line is the first execution. Okay, now you may have inline CSS also. For example, first paragraph, I am writing the style attribute. Style color green this time. Color green. If I am giving color green. If I am giving color green for the first paragraph, only first paragraph will change. No other paragraphs will change. Only first paragraph will come with the green color. Why? Because of inline style is always first preference to the browser. Can you see and observe? Only first paragraph got changed with the green color. Why? Because of inline style is always first preference to the browser. Now, my question is one more question. If I am having inline, internal, inline style, internal style, external style. If I'm having inline style, internal style, and external style, which style will give first preference to the browser? Obviously, answer is simple. Inline is first preference. Only first paragraph I'm writing inline style. That is the reason only first paragraph got changed. Remaining as usual. Only for the first paragraph I'm giving the inline style. Remaining paragraphs as usual. Last line. What is the last line here? Internal style. That is in the red color. That's why the first paragraph got only green color. All the remaining paragraphs got in the red color. Okay, so this is style preferences and all for the today class. You can just practice all the things. And we will connect again or not tomorrow. Tomorrow is the holiday. Happy Ugadi for everyone. And day before, day after tomorrow, we will meet again. Thank you for attending session. Sir, Chapani. Tell me, sir. Tell me, sir. So all videos are actually uploading in the YouTube. If you want, you can just go to the YouTube and search for Josh Innovations, where you can able to find out all the recorded sessions. Recorded sessions are basically uploading to the YouTube. You just search for Josh Innovations here. and you can please subscribe it. When you can subscribe, you can see the recorded session. So this is the last class. Last class also actually added. Last class also added. You can just go to the videos, then you can able to find out. So this is the somewhere last class also got added as this one full stack 20 by 3 by 2023. This is already added. You can please subscribe it and you can check with the classes. All the recordings will be uploading, and files also will be shared. All the files I will share with the GitHub, and tomorrow I'll give you the GitHub link. Thank you for attending the session. I'm going to sign out.